Hi, I'm Kevin Steele. I just wanted to address a few questions that I get quite frequently regarding Google Drive particularly, and in particular Google Forms. So today I want to focus your attention on Google Forms, and we'll set those up for classroom use or survey use. There's really a lot you can do with these. Data collection. So we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll just kind of talk about use cases as we go. I'm starting in my Google Drive at drive.google.com. I'm logged in. If you're Google Apps for Education School, you'll find that particularly helpful. Otherwise, you can do this in your own private Google Drive too. It provides a link out to the forms as you go, so that you can link those in your learning management system, any of that, to direct students, parents, other teachers, faculty, staff, all to your form. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on the Create button here. And you'll notice that I get an option for Google Form. Choose that. And then I get a builder in here. So we'll start very basic with this one. We have an untitled form. So I'm going to go ahead and say, parent-teacher conference survey. I really like this tool for collecting student data. So if the students are going to be working in groups, you could have a form up there, say list your group members' names, and they'll put that information in, and then it collects into a spreadsheet, and then you've got it for whatever purpose you're going to use it for later. If you wanted parents to fill this out at the beginning of the year, it might be very helpful to collect demographic data, current cell phone numbers, those types of things, and then download it in a spreadsheet, and then you can delete the form later on, or you can have them re-update the information later on in the year. That's okay too. So we'll go ahead. That's just the title. If I provide a form description, that shows up when those parents or students hit the form. So I might say, please provide as much information as possible. Thank you in advance for your feedback. All right. So we'll start with the first question. Provide your student's name. And then in the help text, that just shows up in kind of a gray font right underneath it. So if I say full name, please, or even better, first name and last name. Sorry for my typing today. And then it's not a multiple choice question. So in here, I would say I want them to provide text. Now, it's not paragraph text because that's longer, lengthier answers, which in a survey like this, so their answer would go in here. Do I want to require this question? Yes or no? And then I hit done. So there it is. So this is what it will look like on their form. And then I click on add item. So I can add basic text. I can add multiple choice or checkbox questions. So I might even be trying to please select 3 times you wish to meet with me. Times are not guaranteed. So please give me some options for scheduling. Probably not what I wanted to do here, but you get the idea. So I could give them an option, 3 o'clock. My typing is terrible today. 3:15, 3:30. So you get the idea. We can even say advanced settings. So you have the option to shuffle the order. So you could even give a test or a quiz this way. Or, if the students are working on a survey together and you wanted to mix up the questions a little bit, so you could do that as well. Data validation would allow us to say, at most, how many of these are they allowed to pick? They're allowed to pick 3 for this one. So we'll say done. So let's go ahead and, we'll say that we've filled out. There's a couple other items in here as well. Choose from a list. You can have them drop down. There are scale questions as well. Scale questions allow them to choose, 1 through 5, 1 being the best, 5 being the worst, and then they can choose, any number within there. So let's go ahead and just do a sample question for this. Choose your overall feeling of how the conference was prepared. So it's a scale question, 1 being the best, 5 being the worst, and you can change your wording there, of course. We say done, and then there it is, so that it comes in like that. when we're ready, we can go ahead to View Live Form. View Live Form will be, this is the link here that you would want to send out to anybody. You can also go back to edit this form, and we'll talk about a few more options in just a second. But here is the live form. And then when you hit submit, now you'll notice some static text here, never submit passwords. So never ask them for passwords through Google Forms, because it's not a secure, it's not secure enough for passwords. But that's default text. There's report abuse, so if you run across a form that's asking for things like that, you can report that to Google. You've got your terms of service and additional terms down here. But this is all not able to be edited by you. I'm going to go ahead back to edit this form, and it loads in for me. I have some options up here under form settings. I can automatically collect the respondents. Now you'll notice I work at Valparaiso University, but it will have your school in there. So if they're Google Apps for Education and they're logged into the form, it will automatically record that for you. If it were going out to something a little more public, I was asking for community members to respond or whatever, it would be asking them to log in. So I'd want them to, I'd want to uncheck the boxes for sign-ins. And I can also show them a progress bar, because we can create multiple pages. So if I wanted to, I could say create a page break, and then now I give it, page 2, conference preparation, and we hit done, and now we can add questions on a page 2. You can also after page 1 skip, so you can actually apply skip rules in here. Those are a little bit more advanced. We won't be going through those today, but your responses have been recorded is what the conference, so when they're done and they submit, it tells them this. You can change this to thank you for your feedback, and then you can turn off show link for put in another response if you don't want them responding again. Publish and show, that would show everybody what everybody's responses are. Now there may be surveys, obviously this wouldn't be an appropriate survey for that, but the surveys, as far as, collecting student data and what groups they're in, maybe the students would want to see the information like that, or you wouldn't mind displaying that information. As long as it's not collecting any personal data from them, that would be perfectly acceptable. And then you can also allow people to edit their responses after submitting. Those are all options for you. And then when you hit send form, it gives you the link, and you can take that link over to your learning management system like Schoology, Blackboard, Edmodo, any of those things. Or you can invite specific people. So if it was maybe going to staff in your school, you could send that out to those included staff members, like, what's the best meeting time? Select from this. When are you available? Which is a calendar item. So if you're using Google Calendar, I would suggest you do it in there using the Find a Time feature, but you get the idea. And you can also add collaborators. So this would be people who also can help you build the form. So if you were working as a social studies or a science department, you could have those do that. Your fellow colleagues help you design the form and add questions and things too. You can change the theme of this. So over on the side here, there are themes. Google has recently updated their theme. So even if you've been in here before, we can add, obviously, forks and knives. Probably I couldn't see it that well on my screen here. But we can kind of plus it up just a tad here and add, that little evening theme to parent conferences, if you will. There's a lot that can be done with this as far as, submissions of data, submissions of work. And then in responses, you can see a summary of responses once students have filled that out. So it will kind of aggregate the times, and you can see what the most popular times are, or, if people are selecting in the scale, it will kind of aggregate all that together. The beauty of this is you can have them submitting links. So say their final project was to create a wiki space or something like that, and they wanted, and you could have them come here, type in their name and their group members' names, and then copy the link in there. Because then when you hit view responses, that goes to a spreadsheet where all the information is housed. So now you could actually take this spreadsheet and you could download it as a Microsoft Excel document, and you have all that information or a PDF. And you can then take that information and sort it. You can, use it for grading purposes. You can click on the links if they were in there and get to their assignments and their wiki spaces more quickly. So a really great, tool in Google Forms. If we take a look, if we go back to our form and we're editing the form, you'll notice it's opening all these tabs. I'll just go ahead and clean up a little bit here. We talked about, this, you have other options, again, anything that's in the insert or add items is right along the top here. Google's made that pretty easy. There are script managers and script editors, so if you were looking to do something a little more advanced, like have the form automatically send to another recipient, you could do that as well. As far as notifications, we can also, in add item, we can go to page 2 after they've submitted page 1. There are, so let's see here, if we look at, you can even insert videos into these, so you could copy and paste a YouTube video in here, and you could ask the students to answer questions about the video. So those of you who are flipping the classroom, major tool here. You can basically build a quiz for the assignment and put the video right in there, and then it's a one-stop shop. Of course, if you're using tools like Educanon or anything like that, that might, you might want to stay with those because you've paid for those. But this is another way to do that and accomplish those tasks as well. So I hope this is worth it for you today. If you have questions, please email me. Check out my rest of my website at kevinmsteele, Steele.com, and put your comments down below the video and suggestions for other videos. I'm always happy to take those too. Check that out, and talk briefly about Flip Learning. I'd be happy to meet you for a Flip Learning conference at any of the dates. Check out my schedule page at kevinmsteele.com. Look forward to seeing you.